Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the July 15, 2019 Board of Trustees meeting. Will everyone please rise for the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the village clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Andino.
Present.
Trustee Howell.
Present.
Trustee Lee.
Present.
Mayor Luisi.
Present. Deputy Mayor Danny Lang is not here tonight. He's on vacation, and we hope him and his family have a wonderful one as well. Tonight we have no appointments to make. We have no presentations. And we're going to move on to our public hearing, which is still open on the Marbledale Road Design Guidelines as an amendment to the Village Comprehensive Plan. That hearing is still open, and I will again solicit any comments from anyone in the audience. Okay, seeing as there is none, I will make a motion to close the public hearing on the Marbledale Road Design Guidelines. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second. Thank you. Any discussion before we take a vote on this? Anyone on the board? I mean, this has been open for close to a year now. We've solicited comments from the public, from architects, people involved in the construction industry, as well as members of our planning and zoning board. Some of their recommendations have been incorporated into these guidelines, and I thank everyone for their contributions and input on this subject.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luisi.
In favor. Next is the adoption of minutes of the regular board meeting on June 10th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luisi.
In favor. And at this time, this is the first opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the board on agenda items. No, seeing as I know some people just came in. Do you wish to address the board on any agenda items? No. Okay.
You can pull rank here. You can pull rank here.
Thank you for giving me a moment. What I do want to talk about is I just want to talk about some of the items you have on your agenda tonight,
Sure.
which is the community fund actually giving money to the village for some wonderful programs. And I just wanted to publicly thank the community fund and let everyone realize that a lot of people don't know that money that is donated to the community fund stays in Bronxville, Tuckahoe, and Eastchester, unlike maybe another larger organization that you may contribute to. But that money stays local, and as we can see here, a lot of it's going to our police department. It's helping to offset our trolley. They do wonderful things for our community.
They surely do. They
So I
surely
just
do.
wanted to get that opportunity, and
Thank
since now I'm standing here, if you'll just give me another moment. I apologize. I have not been in Tuckahoe on a Monday night when you've had your meeting since I left office in March. So this is my first opportunity to tell you how bizarre it is for me, actually. But it's wonderful. You folks are doing a fantastic job. I want to congratulate you, Renee, as well as Gina. You're going to do wonderful on this board. You've got great company there. Greg is a fantastic leader, so a special congratulations to you, Greg. You know, I was thrilled when you said that you wanted to run. I know you for a long time now, working side by side with you. And I, as a resident now, just purely as a civilian, I am pleased to know that under your leadership, with the colleagues you have, great things are going to happen in our community. So I'm just thrilled to death.
Thank you.
And the fireworks program that we had on Saturday night is just another example of what great community spirit. So you folks are doing a fantastic job, and I know better than most, I guess, that it takes an awful lot of your time. I can see now how much free time I have, although I seem to be.
You're glowing right now.
I know.
There's this glow that's just emanating from all around you right now. So,
Time was right for me. A lot of people have asked, what are you doing? And I'm actually putting a lot more time into my job that pays my bills and spending a lot more time with families. So that's important.
You mean this didn't pay your bills?
No. No, what you folks are doing is community service. And it was a great opportunity, a window for me in my life to go ahead and provide that community service. I think it was a great lesson for my son. I say that all the time. I think it's him seeing the benefits of what you get back from what you're giving to your community is really, really important. So what you're doing is great for us, but what you're doing is great for your own families as well, and they'll realize that over time. They may not see it on the short run, but they'll absolutely see it over time. So again, I'll stop in occasionally when I happen to be in town when you folks are having your meeting, but can't thank you enough for all the hard work that you're doing. Appreciate it.
likewise, Mayor Steve. Anytime. Okay, so anyone else in the audience would like to address the board on agenda items at this time? Okay, we're going to move on to resolutions, and resolution number 1 will be the authorization of the adoption of the Marbledale Road Design Guidelines as an amendment to the Village Comprehensive Plan. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
And
Trustee
as
Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor?
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
in favor. Resolution number 2 is resetting a public hearing for September 9th, 2019 to consider a proposed local law to allow the adoption of a budget for the fiscal year commencing June 1, 2020 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the amount otherwise prescribed in GML Section 3C. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
In favor. Resolution number 3 is authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with the Community Fund of Bronxville, Eastchester, and Tuckahoe, Inc. for a grant in the amount of $8,000 for the operation of the Tuckahoe trolley. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
And I would just like to echo what Mayor Eklund said, and thank you to the Community Fund. It is a fantastic operation, and I am absolutely in favor. Resolution number 5 is authorizing the use of the Main Street Park for the Community Fund celebration.
Number
What
4.
happened?
Authorizing the mayor to sign.
There's 2.
There's 2 for the community fund.
And I have my glasses on. All right, so resolution number 4 is authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with the Community Fund of Bronxville, Eastchester Tuckahoe Incorporated, for a grant of the amount of $10,900 for the Tuckahoe Police Youth Programs, which will receive $7,000, and the DARE program will receive $3,900. Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
In favor. And moving on to resolution number 5, authorizing the use of the Main Street Park for the Community Fund celebration and 3-on-3 basketball tournament on Sunday, October 20th from noon until 5 p.m. Do I have a motion?
So
moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
In favor. And I'm going to just deviate for one moment. We have a representative from the Community Fund.
And I just wanted to say thank you. We appreciate you approving this. This is our second annual basketball tournament, and it was a board member's idea. David Scalzo, a longtime Tuckahoe resident, and we were a little bit unsure how it would work last year, and the Tuckahoe police were so supportive, and they came out, and they did giveaways, and ECAP was a part of it, and we had about 50 players. And so this year we plan to probably have about 100. And it's just a great community event. So I just wanted to say thank you very much, and we look forward to having the annual event here October 20th. So thank you.
Thank you as well, Amy. We appreciate all your support. Resolution number 6 is authorizing the streets for the annual Oak Avenue Block Party on August 31st from noon until 12 a.m. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second. Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor?
Mayor Luise.
In favor. Resolution number 7 is authorizing the modification of the overtime parking restriction on Clinton Place from a 4-hour to a 2-hour limit. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor?
Mayor Luise.
In favor. And this was a modification that was made with the consent of the residents of Clinton Place, if I'm not mistaken. Right, David? Okay. So there was a survey was undertaken by the police department, and as long as there is a 60% majority of the residents that agree with that modification, then the village does go ahead and make that change. Resolution number 8 is authorizing a proposal for professional services agreement with Masser Consulting PA dated June 28th, 2019 for traffic signal evaluations at the Main, Columbus, Lake, and Scarsdale intersections, as well as the Columbus and Circuit Avenue intersections in the amount of $6,100, not to exceed $7,500 with reimbursable expenses. And I know a lot of people will breathe a sigh of relief with this undertaking. We're going to see what we can do with the traffic signal. If at some point we can expedite movement, and of course, the primary concern will be pedestrian safety, as it always has been. So we're looking forward to seeing what this firm is going to recommend. And as I also believe that we have in the works the possibility of improving the electronics there, which may help facilitate this this change. So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor?
Mayor Luise.
In favor. And resolution number 9 is authorizing the following vehicles as surplus for sale, and that would be the 1991 International Dump Truck, a 2003 Ford Explorer, and a 2005 John Deere 2210 tractor, mower, and plow. It's funny, I just drove by and I saw that dump truck on I can't believe how old looking that truck is. So it's, and I'm sure somebody's out there that's going to buy that as well. So, but we're going to get some money back for those used vehicles after we got our use out of them. So it's a good thing. So do I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor?
Mayor Luise.
In favor. Resolution number 10 is authorizing a tax certiorari settlement with Campus Family 2000 Trust for assessment year 2016 with the street address of 42 Oak Avenue, Section 32, Block 15, Lot 13, in the amount of $5,141.34. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor?
Mayor Luise.
In favor. Resolution number 11 is authorizing the closure of capital project number 2018-0105 for DPW equipment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
In favor. Resolution number 12 is authorizing the cancellation of the August 5th Board of Trustees meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
What a
We're all moving that one. And we're all going to second, so put us down for both, all of us.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
I have to be in favor, I guess. Resolution number 13 is approving vouchers in the amount of $1,109,587.94. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
In favor. Resolution number 14, which is authorizing the use of Washington Street, which from Main to Washington Street and from Union Place to Washington Street for the Tuckahoe Housing Authority Family Day on August 10th, 2019, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. with a rain date of August 11th, 2019. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
In favor. And there's a resolution number 15, which is not on the agenda, but which we just received in the mail today, and it's something that we need to put on the agenda, and that is authorizing the mayor to sign an intermunicipal agreement between the County of Westchester Department of Correction and the Village of Tuckahoe, the term commencing January 1, 2019, and continuing through December 31st, 2020, as it relates to prisoner transportation reimbursement. So essentially what this is saying is Westchester County will reimburse the Tuckahoe Police Department, the Village of Tuckahoe, for the transportation of prisoners that need to be seen here in Tuckahoe Village Court. And this is something that we've been doing for many years, and I've always threatened the wardens when I was still working that one day we're going to change that, but I was just a joke. So do I have a motion to authorize this municipal agreement?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Andino.
In favor.
Trustee Howell.
In favor.
Trustee Lee.
In favor.
Mayor Luise.
In favor. Okay, so at this time, we have really nothing at discussion at this point, so it'll be time now for our departmental reports, and we will start with our Chief of Police, John Costanzo.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board.
Good evening.
Just a couple of comments. I know you all were probably talking about the firework event and what a great night it was, but on my end, I just wanted to say thank you to some of the entities that help us, and quite frankly, without their help, we couldn't conduct the event that happened on Saturday evening. So first and foremost, to the Eastchester Auxiliary Police and the Westchester County Department of Public Safety E-Force. These are volunteer members. They are peace officers who come down in force, quite honestly. At least 8 members from the Westchester County Department of Public Safety, as well as probably a dozen members of the Eastchester Auxiliary Police who come down and help us with crowd control and mainly traffic control, moving all the cars in and out of the village. Several thousand people, pedestrians, going to and from the event is a huge undertaking, and with their help, we get it done safely. To the members of the Tuckahoe Police Department, particularly Lieutenant Angela Zerolnik, who was the incident commander, and Lieutenant Larry Rhoda, who the event really went seamlessly and really well done. And again, it's a big undertaking. It's a lot of responsibility. So all to the members of my staff for a job well done. We also asked for and received the support of a joint tactical team that we partake in, and that includes Eastchester, Bronxville, and Pelham. They had tactical operators who were there who were helping us along with some critical parts of the security for the event. So thank you to all of those entities, as well as the MTA Metro North Police, who had a K-9 unit there at our request. So
Great.
we had a lot of people, it went well, and it was a very safe event and a wonderful event. So thank you for all those partnerships. I do want to take the opportunity with Amy here to comment on the community fund. As was said, they give us a considerable amount of money. We run the DARE program and all of our community outreach with that money that's provided by the community fund. Couldn't do it without them. And some of the things, one of the things that we were able to do just the other night, Saturday night at the fireworks event, was to have a blow-up basketball free throw booth manned by a couple of our police officers and interacting with the young people, and that's money provided by the community fund. Another agenda item is the approval of the block party down on Washington Street. We do the same thing there. We have giveaways and some blow-up games that the people can interact with the police officers, and that's funded by the community fund. So, all of the community outreach that we do, all of the partnerships, all of the joining with the young people and interacting and letting young people see police officers in a completely different light, that funding is from the community fund. So it's a huge thank you to them and all the people that support that fund. So that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Our Superintendent of Public Works, Mr. Frank DeMarco.
I was enjoying the air conditioning in the back. Welcome, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening, Frank.
I just want to give people updates on what's going on a couple of the projects in Tuckahoe. First and foremost, I want to mention Winter Hill Road project that I feel like I've been mentioning at every meeting, but I'm just trying to give everybody updates because it seems like it's been like that forever. But it started out when Con Edison had subbed the work to Daniela Contracting, and it caused a lot of infrastructure damage to our sewer main. Luckily, we went back and we videoed everything that was done by them, and we found a lot of damage. So, meeting with Gary and David and Con Edison and many of the representatives, we've ironed it out that they were doing all the major repairs. First and foremost, they were going to do spot repairs that were extensive damage that need to be remediated before we could go back and reline almost 400 feet of our sewer lines, which is quite a bit of damage. We couldn't pave the roads because paving the roads and the roller with the vibratory action would cause further damage, and that's why we didn't pave the road first. A lot of the other work could have been done underground from manhole to manhole, so we could have paved it sooner, but we decided to wait. But the first two, the spot repairs and the relining, has been completed as of last week, and we're scheduling the repaving next week. So all of Winter Hill down to the intersection of Midland Avenue and Winter Hill will get repaved. Secondly, I want to talk about Main Street. This is a project that we just started as of today. What a lot of people don't understand is that Main Street is a county road. But everything, all the infrastructure underneath this main county road is our responsibility because it's our infrastructure. So we need to maintain it. And we're hoping that Westchester County will come in very soon to pave Main Street. As everybody knows, it's just a mess. But that's why we don't take the responsibility of repairing a lot of the manholes, because we took it to a point, but now it's becoming a liability and it's becoming so bad. So people are calling us and why we're not, doing potholes on Main Street. We're doing it to an extent where we feel that a lot of our pedestrians will be safe, say at a crosswalk. We're taking on the responsibility ourselves, but predominantly all of Main Street is a responsibility of Westchester County. But being on that topic, I mentioned earlier before I brought up Main Street is that we had a major sewer collapse that we found just most recently. We had a section of line cambered last week, and there's been 2 sections in this 120-foot section of sewer main, plus the entire balance of that sewer main has been compromised at some point. So we decided to do emergency work, emergency excavation, which had started today. So that excavation includes replacing the entire 10-inch sewer main from Jefferson to Washington Street. So anybody going by would recognize that, it's construction work being done. It's extensive work. They have to go down 9 feet to replace this section of piping, which becomes a little critical, being able to, it's further than 4 feet. The sides need to be shored up, and the remediation work becomes a little bit more extensive. So that's what's going on right now. It'll be continuing for about a week and a half, and hopefully Westchester County will come in and pave the road shortly after that. Third on my list, I'm going to go through some roads that are going to be paved as of starting Wednesday morning. They're going to mill it first, and then they're going to pave. The roads in question are Crescent Place, a small section of Alpine, Jefferson Avenue, Lincoln Avenue between Marbledale Road and Oakland Avenue, and the lower Oak Street parking lot, which we just repaired that wall at the lower Oak Street parking lot. So to complete this project is to further pave it now and get that over with. And that's all I have as far as the work being done. We have so much other work, but I could just be here all night, and I know everybody wants me to leave. But I do want to briefly mention that we're beginning to form a new environmental committee. And I don't want the residents to think that we haven't done any environmental initiatives over the years. We've done far more than a lot of other communities in Westchester County. And I consider ourselves far ahead of a lot of other communities. But we've had a tree committee / environmental committee over the years. And this group has done an unbelievable amount of work, and kudos to them, because without them, a lot of the initiatives that we have here today would have never been completed. But we've never formally had an environmental committee. So within the past 3 or 4 months, we've been meeting with an eclectic group of amazing people from different backgrounds that are really helping to put this all together. And some of the things we're basically just working on right now is a web page design, taking a lot of the initiatives that we've done over the years as public outreach and put this on our website, so the residents can interact and just actually see what we've done here in our community over the past 12 years and beyond that, since I've been here. But a lot of that is going to explain in detail many of the initiatives we did. And some of the newer initiatives that we're also bringing forth. For example, the food scrap recycling. You know, we had that presentation from the Eastchester High School interns that I thought was pretty amazing. But when you get a group of guys to stand up and try to be systematic and putting this all together, I had nothing to do with that. These guys put it together themselves. So I want to thank them for that as well. But they gave us the starting point to begin this initiative, and I just don't want to put it on the back burner. I would like to move forward and just kind of research this a little bit more. And I know Westchester County is also researching food scrap recycling. So hopefully at some point they could come aboard with us, making it easier for us and many other municipalities that are doing this. Right now, presently in Westchester County, there are about 7 municipalities that have taken on this initiative. And again, being that we've done the homework with those municipalities that have been successful with this initiative, it'll only give us a great starting point. So with that said, I'm done.
I want to tell you, I'm looking forward to getting that program up and running. Again, it'll begin on a voluntary basis for the residents, but the discussions that we had, and again, remember we talked about what ICS, how much they recycle there in the cafeteria. It's just amazing. So, the upside of this is there will be no kitchen refuse if everyone does this. If they recycle their bottles and their plastics and their cardboards, and then you take those food scraps, there's going to be nothing in your regular garbage, so to speak.
Waverly and ICS, normally at one cafeteria period, they would have 12 garbage bags filled with garbage, but truthfully recyclables. So when the initiative was taken on for them to recycle every part of what's on their tray at the end of the lunch period, they ended up with a half a bag of garbage.
Amazing.
So it's pretty amazing. But not all the schools in Eastchester are doing that. So part of our initiative is to reach out to the environmental committees in the schools to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're all doing the same thing, and really just moving this initiative and many other initiatives forth to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Great.
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 Okay.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Mr. Galuzzi's on vacation this week, so we have no report for them. We'll take that up with him later. Camille, do you have anything for us? Okay. Mr. Gertzton.
Mr. Mayor, yeah, I know we spoke a little last month about Airbnb.
Yes.
Had made some comments.
Mhm.
Did a little research. There's a real interesting litigation happening now in New York City, and that's in the Southern District of New York. It's a federal court. What had happened was the city had passed a law looking for basically information from Airbnb and these other booking services. And what they said, if you're operating in the city, we want to know, what the property is that's being rented out, who's renting it out, how much they're getting, what part of the property they're renting out, whether it's the whole thing or rooms and things like that. So New York City had passed this law, and right before it went into effect, basically Airbnb and HomeAway, which is I guess another booking services company, came in and sued the city.
Okay.
And that litigation's pending now. But when they started the lawsuit, they asked the judge, they said, Judge, while this case gets litigated, stop this law from going into effect. They asked for a preliminary injunction. And it's kind of hard to get a preliminary injunction. I know the hotel had tried to stop the project down there with a preliminary injunction. That was denied. But in this case, the judge did say, yeah, he granted the preliminary injunction. And the grounds were basically Fourth Amendment to the Constitution grounds, a search and seizure. So Airbnb and HomeAway come in and says this is an illegal search and seizure of our property, of our records. Kind of,
Interesting.
you'd think is first blush is a crazy argument, but the judge agreed with it and basically stopped the law from going into effect while this litigation is continuing. There's a lot of litigation out there, and what I would suggest to the board is we watch courts
Exactly.
until the law is established, until we know what we can and can't do, because city didn't know what they could or couldn't do, but they went out there and said, this is what we're going to try to do. And we'll let other municipalities bear the burden of the cost of litigation, and then we just follow suit once the law gets established.
Okay. Good
But it's an
idea.
interesting case. It's a 52-page decision by the judge down in the city for this preliminary injunction.
Oh, thank you, Gary. I know, isn't there something down in Jersey, I guess it's the shore communities, that if you don't rent through the real estate, that there is a substantial tax that's imposed on the renter in anticipation of this Airbnb taking over, or cutting into the business of the regular rentals through real estate.
It might be. I'm not sure what Jersey was doing.
Mhm.
I was trying to watch what New York.
Right. Yeah. Well.
But I know Mr. Burke gave me an article this evening, and New Jersey I probably shouldn't say it. New Jersey homeowners are renting out their pools by the hour, like through an Airbnb type service. I
Amazing.
think they got shut down for that,
Okay.
but that's what they were trying to do.
Wow.
I didn't want to give anyone ideas. But
Okay. I don't have a pool yet. So.
What's
Okay.
the hour going for?
I don't know.
Well, thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. Mr. Burke, you have nothing for us. Okay. So with that, I'd just like the residents to know that the Westchester County Mobile Passport Office will be in Depot Square on Tuesday, July 23rd from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. So if anyone needs to obtain a passport, renew their passport, this is a great opportunity for you to just come on down to Depot Square, save yourself a trip up to White Plains. Come on down to Depot Square on July 23rd. We will be having a residents meeting on Wednesday, August 28th at 7 p.m. At this time, we are anticipating to be at the VFW right here down on Mid, but it's not confirmed, right? We're anticipating. Once we do have it confirmed, we will put that information up on our website. But we're hoping to have it at the VFW on Midland Place on Wednesday, August 21st. And with that, we'll begin with our Board of Trustees member reports, and I'll begin with Trustee O'Meara Andino.
Thank you, Mayor. So the library summer reading program is well underway. Please go on the website for the programs that are being offered. Just a couple of highlights. Tomorrow we have for the children ages 3 to 6, Back to the Moon at 3:30. where they'll go over how astronauts eat, sleep, work, and play on the International Space Station. So that should be fun if you can get the kids out. The teens are going to have chess classes K through 12, July 14th and August 21st, actually, at 4 p.m. I'll have on July 31st, I'll be doing a cooking class with the teens. I've done it with the adults, so I think I'll enjoy working with the teens and teaching them to make cupcakes and quesadillas, 5 to 7:30. If you are not a teen, please do not come posing as one. Just kidding. Then for the adults, we're having a midsummer concert on July 23rd at 7 o'clock at the community center. Registration is required for all of these programs, so go online or call the library. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Trustee Howe.
So first I wanted to say for the fireworks, I wanted to thank John Galuzzi for organizing a lot of that, for having excellent taste in music and picking a great band.
Amazing. What's the band's name again? I want to promote the band.
Showtime Dance.
Showtime Dance Band.
Very good. This is kind of a quiet month on zoning and planning. There's no planning board meeting this month. There was only one item on the zoning board agenda, and that was an area variance at 17 Underhill for the rebuild of a garage. And it'll be almost the exact same size, so I think that was non-controversial. The June planning meeting, on the other hand, was very lively. You can read the minutes online. Unfortunately, for those following the smokestack, because I know you're out there, that item was adjourned until another time. It was also the June planning board meeting was the first time that we had the new members of the planning board, Ladislaw Castellanos and AJ Forgione. I just wanted to mention and welcome them again, that now we have 5 of our 6 districts actually represented on our planning board, which was not exactly done by purpose, but I think that's a very nice statistic for the village. And actually, Ladislaw Castellanos is from District 14, and I don't think we've had a representation from there in quite some time, so that's nice. As Mayor Luisi mentioned, we have our community meeting, and there were 2 follow-ups from our last community meeting I wanted to let you know about. One is through the work of David Burke and his staff, we are getting together a mail list, so we'll be at village, at anything that happens in the village with this book where you can sign up to get your name on the mailing list, and then we'll be publishing on some regular basis events that are ongoing in the village. That was a request from the last community meeting, as was some questions about the rec center, so I wanted to let you know. You don't see a lot of what we do in because our working sessions are separate from this meeting, but we have been working on getting together, reviewing the policy of the rec center, the pricing of the rec center. We also wanted to have the calendar available, and now you'll see, because David and his staff already have that calendar on the main page to show you what's going on at the rec center. So by the end of the year, we'd like to have all of that available online. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that September 8th is the Tuckahoe Challenge. We're taking sign-ups. Next month, we'll be previewing this shirt. So that's all I have to report.
Thank you,
And I just want to also encourage residents to call. You can call Village Hall if you would like to get this information, or email to put your name on the email list so that you can get the information and the news as we send it out.
Great, thank you. Just back from vacation, Trustee Lee.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everyone is having a great summer. With the high temperatures, it's very important to drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. I just got back last night from a wonderful family vacation with my family, so I was unable to attend 2 wonderful events that happened in our village. This past Saturday morning, the Tuckahoe Tigers Senior Rec Division cheerleaders were honored with a parade for bringing home the World Championship title. Both of my daughters, Ava and Angie, are part of that team. I know firsthand how hard they work. All the girls received championship rings, and were honored with a beautiful ceremony. Thank you to David Pope for making all this possible, and thank you to all the coaches for your hard work and dedication. Later that same evening, Tuckahoe was treated with our annual fabulous firework display that I missed. I would like to inform our community that Frank DeMarco from DPW will be installing a new step to our Tuckahoe trolley to help our senior citizens and anyone else who has difficulty getting on and off the trolley. Now for an update on our senior citizens. There are a few events going on at the center. Tomorrow, July 16th, 12:15 p.m., there's movie and ice cream. Thursday, July 23rd, our seniors will be taking a trip to the Sands Casino in Pennsylvania. Sign-up deadline is tomorrow, July 16th. Thursday, July 30th is the closing lunch. Please sign up by July 25th. The Senior Center will be closed for the month of August and will reopen Tuesday, September 3rd. I also wanted to remind everyone on August 18th from 10 to 1 p.m., the Shiloh Baptist Church will be hosting a service and barbecue at the Main Street Park. All are welcome. Lastly, I had the chance today to pass by Cottle and Tuckahoe High School. Got to see the addition to Cottle, which is amazing, and the new turf at the high school, which looks great. This is very exciting for all our Tuckahoe students. Thank you very much, and also don't forget to go out and support your local businesses while it's nice outside. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Lee. Well, everybody that came before me stole some of my thunder, so I'm going to have to jump around here, so please forgive me.
Everything is good.
First off, I would like to thank Mary Marvin and the village administrator, Jim Palmer, for their assistance a few weeks back when we had a situation in our court room where we needed to borrow their court clerk as well. I believe, Gary, you were on vacation that week, so we also had to borrow their attorney to cover court. So, but, you know, that was planned. The situation with the court clerk was not planned, so I thank, again, I thank the Village of Bronxville and Mayor Marvin for assisting us and allowing us to conduct business that day. I also would like to commend the chief and the Commercial Traffic Enforcement Unit for the checkpoint that was established recently on Garrett Avenue. Once again, considering the amount of tractors, tractor trailers, construction vehicles that travel through our village, it is surely reassuring to our residents to see our police ensuring that these vehicles are in compliance with weight load limits and DOT regulations. So thank you for that continued enforcement. Significant progress continues to be made on Exit 3 off the Bronx River Parkway. But again, I need to remind everyone that this work continues only on one side of this overpass, and once side 1 is done, then side 2 will be done. And again, I think we're still standing at an anticipated completion date of September, but we'll keep you posted as this work continues. Well, I'm going to have to talk about the fireworks because, but I'm going to cut right to the chase. I want to, again, compliment our Department of Public Works for the clean and sanitary conditions that that was provided, and, of course, that subsequent cleanup of all those folks that were there that night. And, again, as the chief said, you know, our police department just did a fantastic job of, you know, ensuring that everyone had an orderly transition into Parkway Oval and leaving Parkway Oval after the fireworks display, and of course, you know, the tremendous support that we received from the neighboring police departments as well as Westchester County, and Pelham PD also, I believe, was there as well. So thank them again. And you know, we're talking about the fireworks, and I know Trustee Howell, you mentioned it, but you know, he usually does not get the recognition he deserves, despite the fact that he'll tell you, look, I'm just doing my job. But John Galuzzi, you know, you just can't say enough about what he has done in lining up all the entertainment that evening, as well as the great food trucks that were there. And Yeah, yeah, and his sponsor, and then even with all of that being said and done, he then MCs all the events of the night. How many times did we get notes? Make sure you're downstairs at 9:15 because and God help you if you're not down there in time. And of course, I'd be remiss in not thanking the Generoso Pope Foundation for sponsoring the night's entertainment and fireworks show by Grucci. I have one other thing that I would just like to mention, well, two other things. Westchester County is holding what's known as a Town Day, and Tuckahoe will be featured up at Rye Playland on Tuesday, August 27th. And what that means is if you go up to Rye Playland with proof of ID, each resident of Tuckahoe will receive discount coupons when they arrive at the Fountain Plaza Administration Building. Municipalities will also have a chance to display booths of information and proudly display what makes them unique at the Fountain Plaza on their special day. There will also be discounts available to Tuckahoe residents, which will include 1 free mini golf entry, a 2-for-1 ride admission, 1 free beach or pool admission, $1 off on 1 food value meal, and a $5 discount for parking on a return visit to the park. So that will be Tuckahoe Day up at Rye Playland will be on Tuesday, August 27th. And lastly, the Chamber of Commerce will be sponsoring a Summerfest in Depot Square on August 24th. If it's anything like last year, you do not want to miss it. It's a fantastic day of fun, and there's lots of businesses that you can become familiar with if you come down to Depot Square on August 24th. And dare I ask, will there be a dunk tank? Okay. All right, we got to get some new people to do that this
And
year.
Mayor Eklund, you've been summoned to the dunk tank.
So again, that's on August 24th in Depot Square. And with that, this is the second opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the board.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. First, I want to give some thank yous. I want to thank Frank, and I want to thank Omira for really pushing this environmental committee thing. It's really coming together. One of the things that Frank didn't mention is the great program that he's working on to create these grates that'll will stop the plastics from going into the storm drains. And hopefully that'll come to fruition, and we'll have financial partnerships with Bronxville and Eastchester, and we'll be making them ourselves at the shop. Hopefully that's what's going to happen, because they're very expensive to buy. So we can make them in Tuckahoe. And I think that's really important. The plastic problem in the river is horrible. It's everywhere. It's all over the world. So I want to thank you for that. Secondly, I want to thank the chief. Communication is what I do for a living. I really appreciate the social media you guys have been doing. It's great. And, well, you guys too. I think between what Omira and Renee are doing, and the village is starting to do it, and what the chief is doing is wonderful, because people just don't know what's going on sometimes. And so I share it, other pages, I share it with groups, and they seem to appreciate it. The local, Eastchester groups, Eastchester moms, Tuckahoe moms, things like that. And I think that's a good thing. Communication is important. And I also want to say thank you to John. Not only does John do all the work that he does, but given how he's rehabilitated himself, it's a Herculean effort. He's a solid citizen. And I think for you all, hiring good people makes your job easier. That includes Mayor, who you hired, and other people that have hired, people in the past. It's really important. I know that you passed the resolution for the Marbledale thing, which is, I believe, right? Yeah, which is fine, yeah. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to just quickly say a couple of things about that moving forward, so we don't repeat things that happened in the past. One of the problems was when we did have those issues, and I know Chris DeGiorgio brought some stuff up last month, but one of the problems was communication. I'm going to admit that the side I was on said some things that was incorrect. there was never a danger to Waverly. There's no way that I'm telling you right now, there's no way that TCE thing, plume, would have gone there. No way. There's probably more TCE around there from the cleaners and stuff than there is. So that's one thing. And I think hysteria took over in many cases. So I want to apologize for that, okay? I kind of bought into that. And I also want to say that the Article 78 was a mistake. Okay? We shouldn't have done that, and for a couple reasons. One was because two of the issues that we filed were past the statute of limitations, so that was a waste. But secondly, and I'm glad, Mayor Eklund, that you're here. In 2009, on December 7th, there was a meeting when Mayor Eklund was on the board, Claire Gorman was on the board, and Fitz was the mayor. And in that meeting, there was a resolution passed that stated about how the Marbledale Road was going to be, rezoned. It was fine. But in that statement, it said that the rezoning was not going to cause any negative environmental impact in that statement on December 7th, which is fine. And I think if we had known that, I think it would have changed the dynamic of the discussion in 2016. Now, I don't know what studies Frank Fish's group did at that time to say that, but the point is that even if you wanted to do a lawsuit, the statute of limitations was way past. So I think it going forward, let's lay it all on the table. Let's just be honest with each other about, okay, what's happening, what's going on. The DEC has done the study. We just haven't had set up a meeting yet. But I think communication is the key. We're all in the same boat. We all want to protect the village. We want to protect the residents. And we also want to protect any legacy things that happened because the village was responsible for running the dump even though it was private property. And looking at that history is important. I don't know if you've all seen any documents that the county has on what happened at the dump in the 60s and 50s, but you probably should look at it. It just gives you perspective. It gives you perspective, and it's important. They did know that burning foam and paint cans was wrong, and they would say that to our DPW director, and that didn't happen. So my point of all of this is that what I'd like to see going forward is, okay, this is passed. We know developers are going to come in to Marbledale Road. That's great. Let's talk about it in a civil way. Let's discuss things. Maybe the DEC studies are fine, but if there's something that's a little, so what? Let's deal with it. Let's deal with it together. Let's be rational. I will make sure that from my end, with the people that I deal with, that there's sanity, no craziness, respect. But I think communication on both sides is important. And I think if we had known what happened in 2009, I think that would have been much better for us. We probably would have saved me money, the village money, even the developer, because he had to spend a lot of extra money too. And I think that going forward is the direction we should go in. So I know you all weren't there, and I'm just trying to, I think that's important.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate your honesty. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the board?
Mayor,
Good evening.
trustees, Steve Alfasi, the former trustee. And I just want to, I don't know if we're going to end on a good note, but certainly give a good note, which is, I want to give thanks. And I want to give thanks to same thing that we've been talking about tonight, which is one, the fireworks that were just Saturday night. Wonderful event, my favorite event of the year. To, of course, our DPW, our police department, Eastchester, everyone we'd named, of course, John Galuzzi especially, and David Pope. But one of the things I do want to mention, because I think it's really important, someone came up to me today, in fact, it was someone in Yonkers. When I work for the city of Yonkers, I work in the courthouse every day, I'm their prosecutor. So one of the employees came up to me today and said, Steve, I want to thank you. And I said, well, what for? He said, you recommended going to the fireworks display, which I'm sure all of you do. And she went, and she brought her family. And she says, it was just a fantastic event. It was so well run. I just had a great time. My children had a great time. But the most important thing she said, and she lives in Yonkers, but she said, I had such a feeling of community there. I had such a wonderful feeling of what a wonderful community Tuckahoe is and the residents are. So I wanted to give a special thanks to everyone in our community, not just our employees, but all the residents, because we get that feeling and we live here and we're proud of the village of Tuckahoe because of everyone who lives here. It's not just that event, it's the basketball event, it's the Depot Square events, it's all of that thing. And I especially want to give one more thanks, and that's to the leadership of you, Mr. Mayor, and all the trustees, former, past. You all have your heart in the right direction. You all love this village. It comes out. People from around the community and within the community know that, and I want to give you thanks.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Alfasi. Appreciate that. I want to piggyback off of something you said about the fireworks that we just, you know, again, when you talk about the community spirit, I jogged by Parkway Oval about 7:30. I think Renee was probably ahead of me, and at that point in time, at 7:30 in the morning, residents had already set up blankets and chairs on the hill overlooking the oval at 7:30 in the morning. So again, yeah, to your point, it's a well-anticipated event every year, and you know, let's just hope we can continue to do that. And you know what the major big plus is? It always runs with no problems. There's never any incidents there. You know, the people that are waiting on that line to buy the Walters hot dogs or the meatball truck or whatever it is that they're buying, you know, everybody's just standing there waiting patiently and having a grand old time listening to the music that's playing down below. So, yeah, it's a great event. Thank you, Mr. Alfasi. Anyone else?
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Nichols Neighbor, 108 Sagamore Road. I'd like to piggyback on a conversation that was had at the last meeting concerning debate. Not here to talk about last year's campaign, looking to discuss the future of Tuckahoe. I believe debates are essential part of democracy and allows us to know what candidates stand for and their ideas. I ask you, Mayor Luisi, if you can commit that we have a debate in next year's election. Have it here at Village Hall, have it televised like we used to, so that residents can have the same privilege as all the surrounding municipalities and hear from these candidates before going out and voting for them.
If you remember what I said at the last meeting, I was not going to discuss the previous election. And I'm still maintaining that stance.
I'm not discussing last year's election.
Yes, you are. Again, you're bringing up a debate issue, and that will be formulated between the chairs of the parties, as you well know.
I'm not here to discuss last
I
year's
just made my
campaign.
statement, Mr. Neighbor.
I'm asking you as the mayor who has the authority to commit to us having a debate in next year's election. I'm not discussing anything from the past.
Again, that will be an arrangement that will be made between you and the chair of the party. You will facilitate that debate with the chair of the Republican Party.
I understand that, and that is something that
And I will concur with whatever agreements are held between those two chairpersons.
I understand what you're saying, and I'll be glad to have that conversation. I also think that it's important that our current mayor and our board commit to having some sort of debate where we can have a moderator, it could be televised. Those are things that you can control.
No, that's something that, again, we're having this discussion, which that will be something that will be arranged by you and the Republican chair.
Okay, so you don't want to.
If they're, first of all, I'm not running next year.
I understand that. I'm not
Okay.
asking you to partake in the actual debate. I'm just asking that you help us facilitate a debate for the community.
Mayor Luisi, if both parties approach us willing to have a debate, would we support that?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
But again, that's something that has to be facilitated between.
Agreed.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir. Please state your name.
my name is Bert Baldessara. I'm a lifelong resident of Tuckahoe. I just need some clarification. it seemed that asking the mayor to facilitate debates is a political concern and not something that should be brought up in front of this board. Is that correct, or am I incorrect? I mean, there's certain things the mayor is not responsible for. Are you responsible for facilitating debates?
To the best of my knowledge, no.
It seems to me that that should be known. It's common sense. And it seems to me that wasn't the real purpose of asking for you to facilitate. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll help you out a little bit here. The debates have historically been organized by the League of Women Voters. So what the Democratic and Republican parties, what they do is they find an independent, unbiased entity like the League of Women Voters. So they're actually the moderator and they are the host of the debate. Your role is whether or not you want to allow them to have that debate on village property, whether you have it here, whether you have it at the community center, whether you have it at the Main Street Park. They could have a debate at, most of the time they're at Eastchester Town Hall. So I think the request really would be whether or not, if an organized debate can be permitted to be held on village property. That's really the appropriate question, I think. So
Of course. I mean, that's why would I say no, or
No,
why
of
would
course
any
not.
person
And I
say
know
no
you
to
all would
that?
say absolutely.
I mean, so
But it's not your role or responsibility
not.
to facilitate having a debate whatsoever. Whether or not it could be held on village property is something that you would, as a board, collectively, you would make that decision. But you should really have no role at all in organizing the debate.
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly. Thank you, as I stated.
I'd like to clarify. Okay, the purpose I came up here, I understand how a debate gets organized. I had partaken in that in the last year's campaign. I was unsuccessful in that mission. So what I was asking is that the village board, who can help televise it and permit it to be here, was something that I wasn't asking you to actually make it happen. What I was asking for you was to allow us to have it here, and that people have that opportunity to hear the candidates, which I think, almost all municipalities around us do have. And, everybody has their opinion, that's fine. But behind the scenes, I did try to make that happen, and had no luck in that. So just wanted to clarify my comments.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, with that being, oh, we lost power here again? No. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, I would just like to thank everyone for attending tonight's meeting. And I also would like to wish our residents a safe, happy, and enjoyable summer. And we'll see everyone back here in September. So, with no further ado, do I have a motion to close this meeting?
So moved.
So I have a second.
Second.
All right, good night, Tuckahoe.